What a great segue. Chuck made talking about seasonality. I haven't had calendars because of one of our great taglines developed by my wife is fish without seasons. We're fish farmers, and to the extent humanly possible, we try to produce fish on a year-round basis, not overcommit our sales so that we can, as much as possible, guarantee availability. We kind of fall off the wagon a little bit with redfish, but we're here today to talk primarily about what got us in this business, is hybrid striped bass, and talk to you a little bit about what we do and why we're so passionate about it. This is our farm, by the way. So anyway, we've been called an artisanal farm. We're kind of a large commercial farm. We're not a factory farm yet, although we have aspirations. And our family is involved in every aspect of the business. I started the business, actually went to Texas A&M, got a degree in aquaculture, and started farming and started our business in 1980. So we've been in this quite a long time. One of the few people that have used my degree, actually. So anyway, we're involved, and like a lot of business owners, we work far more hours than we're paid for. A little tagline that Vicki, my wife and the marketing director, developed, a little jab at those detractors that are only believers in wild fish. We're proud of what we do. It is a delicious product, and we do our best to produce an elite quality product. Okay, a little bit about our farm. This is one of our farms. This is our flagship farm in Danville, Texas. It's about an hour and a half southwest of Houston, on the Gulf Coast Prairie region. This is about 1,500 acres of land. We've got 114 ponds, about 1,000 water acres. We also have a farm in Mississippi, Nature's Catch. By the way, the brand that comes off this is Silver Striped Bass. Nature's Catch we didn't build that farm, we bought it a couple of years ago. Similar size, about 1,000 water acres. And we recently bought a catfish farm that was being shut down, and that gave us another 350 water acres. So we have about 2,300 acres of water under production. We're the largest bass producer in the country. We have a capacity of about 5 million pounds. It's a really, it's very much like being a big fish in a small bowl. It's a really small niche product, only about 8 million pounds produced nationally. Hybrid striped bass are a pretty interesting fish. It's a cross between the striped bass and the white bass, which is freshwater. Striped bass is saltwater. Striped bass, the historical range was on the eastern seaboard, down around Florida and up into the Gulf. You don't see too many of them in the Gulf anymore. You can spawn them with the male of one or the female of the other, reciprocal cross, that both works. The advent, these fish have been stocked all over the country. Game fish primarily, and one of the interesting things was up until about 1991, it wasn't even legal for us to sell these fish as food fish. So for a couple of years, I had to put my lobbying hat on and get some laws changed to allow us to legally sell them for food. We could sell them for stocking fish, but when game laws were first being promulgated, they didn't envision the advent of aquaculture. So we were able to convince them that we can distinguish between farm fish and wild fish and protect the wild fishes. Pond aquaculture looks serene and pretty, but it's really a difficult, costly, risky venture to get into. Of course, the key resource is water. It's pretty hard to raise fish without water. And so we've located our farm down in the Gulf Coast where we have abundant fresh water. There's a really nice aquifer down there that's not under a lot of pressure. So B&B, looks like dog food, but it's a lot more expensive. And then a couple of years later, we pull them out of the water. That's the simple side of things, simple story. Of course, there's a lot that goes on in between it, a lot more risk. We've often seen a lot of white bellies floating up, and that's, of course, any form of tragedy when you lose your crop or part of it. So there's a lot of risk to this, and but this is what it's supposed to look like. We harvest the fish, we immediately drop them into an ice slush, chill kill the fish, and from that point on, the clock is ticking, as anyone who can't see through well knows. Go ahead. So the big thing about what we do is well, let me start. It took a long time to figure out what I was doing. Coming out of college and figuring I knew it all. Lots of school of hard knocks, learning experiences, learning how to grow these fish and grow them consistently to where we could make a business out of it. There's lots of people that have hobby interests. A lot of people like to fool with fish, but making a business out of raising fish, a crop that you can't see, the banker can't go out and count them, so he doesn't know what he's got for collateral. It's really a difficult thing. But, as my dad taught me, until you convert that product to a dollar bill, you've not accomplished anything. So, this part, after learning how to produce them, was the key to our success, and that's learning how to handle them and keep that product in a state, in a condition that people want to buy and buy again. And that's what we do. We invested a lot in our packing plant. We don't process them, we don't gut them, we don't do anything to them except machine grade them to a size that is useful to you guys for portion control. But we handle them real carefully and we maintain the cold chain. We make our employees miserable because they got to work in real cold conditions down in Texas. And we will have a lot of hand labor packing our fish, soldier staffing them, like the delicate product they are, putting lots of ice in there. Our 50-pound net weight boxes end up being 85 plus pounds with all the ice in them. We use flake ice, so we bed the fish and not getting nibbled from chunk ice. And then we immediately get them on a truck, either to Houston where Fruge picks them up, or we have a third-party carrier that specializes in LTL seafood delivery, and we deliver all across the country, all the way to San Francisco, all the way up to Boston. We have Canadian customers that come across. We only truck fish, we don't air freight them. We feel like we get a better product, putting them on wet ice, and even with the additional days involved there, our product has legs that air freighted fish don't have. Forgive me something. Of course, what we do with it is only part of the story is what our customers do with it after that. And that's why we love to work with folks like Fruge, because they get it. They have the same philosophy we do. They're interested in quality first, as Chuck mentioned. And surprisingly, in this day and age, there are still lots of vendors out there that don't care about it. They just want the cheapest money. They want the generic fish in a brown box. We don't do very well with those kind of customers because they don't value what we do with that product. So we're grateful for customers like Fruge. That's your plug, by the way. This is what we do. We care about what we do. We care about food safety. We've been doing this for 30 years. We have a dedication to the highest standards participated in a lot of, on the aquaculture side, a lot of the industry standard setting seminars, conferences, developing the BMP, the best management practices. The good thing about what we do is that we don't use hormones or antibiotics. In fact, up until recently, there weren't any approved therapeutics for our product. So we had to be good stewards, good producers. Can't stress it. We can't put them in situations where they're going to come down with diseases. We do third-party testing as part of our HACCP plan, and we also have the annual visits, uninvited but welcome visits from FDA that come and take samples and put their stamp on there. And this is what it looks like. This is what a lot of you guys turn our fish into. It's a great product. Cooks up, you can cook it anyway, virtually any method. It cooks up to a bright white flesh, medium texture. We think it has a mild, slightly sweet, nutty flavor. And it's again, so versatile. You can do it, cook it anyway. I love it in ceviche. It has a recipe that's just knock the socks off. Go ahead. Oh, one other thing. A good percentage of our product gets sold in sushi markets. And so they're kind of a canary in the mine, and we're real proud of the fact that a lot of sushi markets accept and love our product. This is talking about stamps. We have a lot of the lists where they say this is good, this is not good, this is not so good, and all the lists that have looked at our fish have put it on best choice. Go ahead. One of the other advantages of our product is that it is local. It's produced here in Texas. If you're in Boston, you can say at least it's domestically produced. And that's becoming more and more important, not just from an ecological standpoint, food mile, carbon footprint, all that. It's just that you know where the product came from, and you know how it's treated, and if you had to, you could come knocking on our door and find out what we do, how we do it, and the history of this fish. Another gratuitous shot is why I say it's much for these. This is how they begin the product. A lot of talk about environmental responsibility, social responsibility. We get asked frequently if we're certified by a third party. My response is no. Number one, we have a kinship with the environment. If we do something wrong, we don't have a lot of therapeutics or any to throw at this fish and cure that problem. We have to do it right. We have to maintain systems so that that fish is healthy at all times. And the other thing about this is it's not like a slash and burn industry. It can cost upwards of $10,000 an acre to build fish farms. And that's just the capital requirements. Then you have the operating requirements and the years that it takes to raise that crop. And for someone to go in there and ruin the resource, that's not a good business plan. They're not going to be around for very long. So we're very serious about what we do and how we do it. And if we ever forget about it, there are our stamps of approval. We are regulated by a million different agencies. I can't tell you how many licenses and permits we have to be in business. If you want to raise a cattle, we don't have to have a license to do that, but we have to have lots of licenses. because we do share space, use resources, discharge water, you know, they all want to watch over us. They do a good job of it, I assure you. So there's the end of it. We produce a product, and every time I see our product on the menu, we just really smile. Just well up with a sense of pride. We love producing something that other people enjoy, and it just really gives us a good feeling. Okay, you said the food photography later. This is coming soon. The Silver Streak Showdown. Vicky's come up with a neat little deal to have a contest in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're going to have a competition for recipes and a final showdown. Well, we'll pair down the two chefs that will then compete in a cook-off, and that'll be coming up. When? After the first year. And you can get details on the project. That's it. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Redfish. So we're redfish farmers too. And this farm is down near Flash on the coast. We also buy fish from a couple of other farms that adhere to our strict standards, and they're also in that same area. This is really has an interesting story. As you know, redfish were banned from commercial harvest years ago. They were overfished, and that created the impetus for farming these redfish. Back in the 80s, they started raising them. And we had back-to-back killer cold fronts. Redfish are not tolerant of super cold water. It just wiped them out. And there really hadn't been a consistent supply over the years. So we jumped into it a couple of years ago, bought into a farm, and started raising them and trying to gear up for what we do with the bass, and that provide a consistent year-round product. And we're doing pretty good until we had a really extended cold winter into the spring. We lost a couple of months of production. And we had a drought. We had some toxic algae and flatfoot blooms that killed some ponds, and so it created a reduced supply of fish that has caused us to short some of our customers, reduce what we sell to keep from completely running out. So I apologize to you, Michael, for having to reduce your supply, but we're going to be back up to speed here in a month or two. Anyway, it's a great product. Go ahead to this picture. One of our recipes is, and it's not, well, part of it is original. This is what we call sunny side. So redfish on the half shell, skin on, scale on, and you put it on the pit. This is marinated in Shiner bottom, among other things.